This podcast is produced by the Deer Tribe Métis Medicine Society. Copyright DTMMS, all rights reserved. Materials may not be used without written permission.
The Sweet Medicine Sundance Path is a mystery school that offers shamanic knowledge and practices for anyone seeking personal growth, spiritual awakening, and evolution through interconnectedness. Today, the wheels and keys, the teachings, practices, and ceremonies are available at workshops, events, and ceremonial gatherings in various countries around the planet. Welcome back to DTMMS TV. I'm Nicola Samad, and we are continuing our conversation with Naide Bruno. Naide, thank you for joining us.
It's truly a pleasure for me.
So let's start by defining some of the basic premises of our healing paradigm. When we say get at cause, what do we mean?
Yeah, we have a unique way of looking at getting at cause. You know, in the typical Western medicine or alternative complementary medicine, we're always looking for, we don't just want to, stifle the symptom, but we want to look at what's causing the symptom. And that's a good thing. But what we look at in our paradigm is actually the words, and I would put even this in capital letters, the being at cause. And so that takes it to a whole other level, because it's not so much like, what wounding in childhood or what the various things in our history have actually caused this affliction, shall we say. But it's much more to being looking at the old hurts and the woundings and the injustices. We all have them. And the old history is basically that. It's old history. But we don't attach ourselves to that as the cause of something. It's important information, but it's not necessarily the cause. Because the cause is really, again, at spiritual level. And as Thunderstrikes has always said, it's the cause will always be spiritual, and spirit heals. It is spirit that heals. So therefore, it's going to take us to a whole other level and take the person to a whole other level, because it demands of a person who wants to be healed in this way and wants to heal themselves, about taking responsibility for themselves, about their choices, and going forward in their life, not looking backwards. And being at cause is actually what we say. When I'm at cause, I'm at the center of my own circle. And that's an expression that we use, because being at the center of my own circle means I own it. I'm going to take responsibility, not in a bad way, not to say, oh, I was terrible, I blew it, or whatever. Nothing like that. It's more that we are all here to learn, and we're going to, make choices that maybe weren't the best choices, or we're going to find ways that we can get trapped. We'll get trapped in ways that are old ways or whatever. And so that's not what we're talking about. It's basically to know that if I'm at cause and at the center of my own circle, I am my own healer, first and foremost. That I am the healer. And so therefore, the shamanic approach, and it's spoken in many different traditions, is called the wounded healer. Because of the fact that I met the confrontation, that I actually now know that I've gone through the journey of doing everything I can do to heal myself, and then go to a deeper level where I connect to spirit to get that help from spirit to heal, and with those who are trained to help me go through the journey. And then I can take responsibility for myself. And now I know that, yes, the wounded part was there, but that's not all of it. The fact that the wounded part is what has empowered me to know that I am first and foremost my own healer, and that I can actually bring healing to life and others.
So this is actually speaking about empowering the individual to heal themselves, realizing that they have caused something, they can definitely cause something else.
Yes, and to actually take responsibility that what it means is there is no one, no thing, no system, no other that is the cause of our illness. And that is very important because we're looking to outside ourselves. And whenever we do that, we're not in the center of our own circle. And so therefore, when I can say I am at cause, that means that, yes, I know that I am the designer. I'm the one that choreographs my life. And I will take that responsibility for it and still get help every way I can, in all ways that I can, so that I can really see myself in a different light.
So we use alchemy within our teachings, our ceremonies, our healing ceremonies. Can you speak a little bit more in broader terms what alchemy means?
Yeah, before there was chemistry as a science, there was alchemy. And so the alchemists of years gone by, the ancient ones that always had a fascination for what is transformation. And if we look at that and we see that transformation it comes about with alchemy. And so alchemy is always using laws, sacred laws of the universe, natural laws that are, say, if you put this together with this and you put them together and you create a response, well, this is basic chemistry, of course, that is something has been transformed. And there was something that got catalyzed, something that got the energy that was moved. And so that's the understanding on a very basic level of alchemy. Alchemists have always been known to be the ones who, the famous expression of, to turn lead into gold. And so we can look at alchemy on that level. We can also look at even the Jungian, Carl Jung spoke about this, about finding the gold within ourselves in our shadow, finding the gold inside us. And that is an alchemical process. He was very fascinated with alchemy, by the way. And so alchemy is something that we know we can count on. It's called sacred law. There are laws that govern the universe. There are laws that govern how things happen. And whether we want to change them, we think we want to change them, they're not going to change. They are laws. And so being able to work within those laws, now we can look at what can transform. Because we can work within the laws. And so when we create a space for someone to heal, we are creating a sacred space that is alchemical. In that space is the full potential for that person to transform their physical selves and transform all the aspects of themselves, emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, and soul. And so alchemy is, of course, the foundation of healing, really, if you can see that healing can always be a transformative process. And so being in alignment with those laws, and that's what we teach our students who are wanting to work in with the healing paradigm especially, but within our whole path, actually, is about how do you do that? What does it mean to be in alignment with sacred law? What does it mean to be able to be in the stream, to be in the flow, and you're not trying to make things happen, you're just aligning with what is happening. So I could go on about alchemy, but I hope that answers what you were looking for.
So in what way are healers and apprentices mirrors for each other?
Well, there is a basic principle that in life we are all mirrors of each other in our relationships with each other anyway. And so when we are mirrors of each other, it basically speaks to the same theme that we've always spoken about, which is there is no separation. That what is in you is also in me. And that I can actually be there and therefore not say, oh, you're the patient and I'm the doctor, and so we're separate. We are separate energies, we're separate beings. Yes, we are in our individuality. But the connection that there is of this thread of interconnected, interreliable, interdependent, this sacred law, then we're able to really see, okay, we are mirrors of each other. And so we look at anytime, whether it's in a one-to-one healing relationship or within a healing circle, where there's a group of people that are there to support this person. We're always looking at the fact that I'm not better than this person, but there's a part of me that actually, yeah, I see myself in you, and so being mirrors of each other is a very valuable thing. Number one, because it helps us to not be self-important. But number two, it also helps us to have our own healing. Because when I can see that in another, I'm not going to jump in there and be this kind of mushy person who's kind of, wanting to take in the emotionality, the emotions of someone. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold my space. But in so doing, I can also recognize that there is some kind of a connection that we have. And the best thing that I can do is to just be present, be there for that person in a way that is without judgment and without any kind of projections. And so that's what we do a lot of work on training our students exactly to stay out of projection and out of judgment so that we can be fully present, knowing that we are all part of the bigger picture.
So you're speaking about the one to the many and the many to the one law.
Yes, again, we go back to that law. And sometimes it's just the one to the one if it's a one-on-one interaction, but still it's that interconnectedness that's always there. So it's a wonderful gift. And even if you're the one who's administering to this person in whatever way, there's a certain freedom in that. There's an actual way, like I don't have to be so fixated on I have to do it right and it has to be just this way, which gets the mental going so much that I don't have a heart space. And the beauty of the mirroring is that it will always open a heart space, and that is so critical in any modality, any tradition of healing. Is the heart and the head work together. And this concept of we are mirrors for each other is very helpful, very helpful.
I'm thinking back now to one of the points we were speaking about earlier about how what we would call the apprentice or the dreamer or the person in the center of the circle of who's asking for the healing. What are they trying to learn through the disease? So we're looking at disease as an indicator, a signal, a teacher, even for someone.
Well, in our paradigm, which is quite different, I don't know of any other paradigm that uses a different term than what is mostly used in our culture. So we do not call this person a patient. Because that creates a disconnect and it creates a different power dynamic, and that does not serve people well. But the apprentice, the word apprentice is a wonderful word because it means the one who came to learn. So I'm accepting this illness, this disease, this affliction, as a teacher, and I'm coming here in my own humility and in my courage to learn. And so therefore, to me, I see the word apprentice as a very respectful term, because that way we can actually see, speaking of mirroring, that it is, I could be in the center of that circle. I have been. So there's many different ways in which I can open myself up. And so therefore, we don't use the word patient because it definitely puts such a limit on who this being is in their total beauty. And so we always say, yes, I honor you. I recognize you for being the one who came here to learn from the teacher of the affliction, and to learn from spirit so that you can heal yourself.
So there's more with Naide coming up next.
This program is brought to you by DTMMS, the Deer Tribe Métis Medicine Society.
I do enjoy the ceremonies and all the teachings. I'm really looking forward to the healing that I can do inside my own self, and also the community is amazing.
I'm looking forward to learning new things, finding out about myself. I'm looking forward to evolving.
The spiritual connection to Great Spirit and to all things magical. These are the things that are most important to me right now.
Welcome back to our conversation with Naide Bruno. Okay, I'm going to bring in another concept here, Naide. So when we talk about a book of life reading, what are we talking about?
Yeah, very good question. Now, a book of life reading is an oracle. It's an oracular reading using a deck of cards that that are called the Mayan deck of cards. We have very beautiful and exotic images painted on them, but it is a tarot deck. And so we use that as an oracle because it's a roadmap. And so what we say is that our soul every year kind of lays out a roadmap for us about what to pay attention to, what is it that needs to change, what possible challenges we could be meeting, where we're growing, and what is even our heart's desire to come forward. And so the book of life reading, when one gets a book of life reading and the laying of the cards, those cards are telling this person, hey, pay attention to this, or take a look at this from a different point of view. And so therefore, the book of life reading guides us in how we move forward. And we call it a Dharma book of life reading because it truly is Dharma is the unknown. Dharma is the place where we don't know, we haven't written anything down about what my life is going to look like and have it nicely structured and in a little box. It's actually all the unknown. And so when we're able to have a map, of course you want to be out on the seas with your chart and your map to get you to your goal, to get you to the island or the wonderful lighthouse that's directing you there. And so the book of life reading is very, very helpful. Most of us as apprentices on this path get a book of life reading every year to kind of help us to do some intend in a way, do some intending of what we want and what is our true heart's desire, always coming from the messages that come from the soul. It's our higher self and our soul that are giving us these messages.
So this usage of archetypal energies, of metaphors, of symbology is all wrapped in within the healing paradigm, of course, also with our teachings. We have one which is called the sacred image. Can you explain a little bit about what to hold? Because I know in healing ceremonies, we hold the sacred image of the apprentice who is asking for the healing while during the healing ceremony. So what are we actually doing there?
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about what is sacred image. Sacred image is our naturalness, our sacredness, shall we say, of the potential of who we truly are. It's our true self. It's the self that is much bigger than even how we see ourselves. That we to step into, if I see myself in my sacred image, that's a pretty big picture. And yes, it's archetypal, but it's also has a sense of like, there's a beauty that is just sacred, that's just actually sacred. And so it's an image, and so the sacred image is what we hold for someone, especially when they come for healing. Because most of the time we are human, as humans, yeah, well, we are human. As humans, we actually do not have a good connection when we're hurting, when we're ill, when we have sickness, when we're out of alignment. We don't have a connection to that sacred image. How can I see the beauty of myself in my sacredness if I'm hurting? And so that's just the human condition. And so when someone comes to us, they're hurting, they're needing healing, they're needing to be brought back to wholeness. And the sacred image is always coming back to the wholeness and be restored, renewed, and be able to function at a much, much higher level. And underneath that, that is one of the underpinnings, shall we say, of how we heal ourselves. So when someone comes to us, for example, again, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's within a healing circle, we all, the practitioner or the circle, everyone on the circle, holds an image of that person as completely healed. That person's coming in with cancer. I don't see this person who's coming in that with cancer. And our Western model, unfortunately, does that very often. It's Mrs. Jones in room 304, but it's not Mrs. Jones. It's the breast cancer in room 304. I mean, what a disservice, So that thank goodness is changing. Thank goodness is changing in Western medicine. But we always are holding the being of who this person really is. And so if everyone, you can imagine, if everyone in a healing circle is holding that image, that means we are holding this person as totally healed. We are holding this person as not the person with this affliction, but the one who is in all her potential of being totally healed. And so the sacred image is something that every one of us in our human journey is seeking to discover about ourselves. It's the true self. Not the false self, but the true self. If that helps in an understanding, I hope.
It sounds like I can feel the expression of benevolent compassion that's necessary to hold that space. And yes, it is a wonderful thing if our Western style medicine hospitals and stuff do incorporate a little bit of that. That would be great, wouldn't it? So stay tuned for more about the Sweet Medicine Sundance healing paradigm with Naide Bruno.
My name is Ruthie and I'm 10 years old and my medicine name is Dreaming Snake, and my time at Earth Lodge has been very, very fun. Lovely friends, delicious food. Hey, I even made breakfast. And the most wonderful community.
My name's Louise. I was a part of the Teen Lodge at this amazing place, Earth Lodge. We did archery, and it told us about how to reach your goals and targets. We did wire building so we can learn how to work in teams, and we did all sorts of stuff.
I'm Yasmin, and my medicine name is Wise Owl, and I've had a really fun time here and learned a lot of stuff at Kids Lodge and made a lot of cool things.
This program is brought to you by DTMMS, the Deer Tribe Métis Medicine Society.
Welcome back to our continuing conversation with Naide Bruno. So one final piece in our healing paradigm is the concept of return to the before, or returning to the before. Can you speak to this?
Yeah, I was very struck with that many years ago when I started on this path, and when Thunder Strikes would speak about the before. It sounded a little strange, and yet it was very intriguing for me. And the before is really when we're not talking about the before about my past history. Okay, that's not the before. We're not trying to heal the past history, but the before is actually much, much deeper and more impactful for us when we think of the before was our natural state, our state of naturalness, when we as a human were totally in balance before illness, before these distortions and incoherences in our body and our energy field were developing. We actually are looking at something that is before that. And so what it says is that we were naturally born in the before. And so then the journey of life and everything about life then, and its the experiences is going to make it quite different than that. And there's a part of our soul that's actually yearning to be in the before. So that really fits into our healing, because if we are in disalignment and we are out of balance, there's a part of us that's saying, I know, I can feel, I know what balance feels like, and I want to go there. And so it's a journey of going back to saying, I can recognize this. And therefore, when I go to the before, it's going to be connected to sacred image. I go back to that place where there were no encumbrances and no lack. There was no lack. And so therefore, I'm able to be my full true self and be able to, from there, see what life has to bring me and what that healing is going to look like. So all of our lives, whether we have a medical or diagnosis of physical affliction, but for all of us, going back to the before is the healing of our life. And as we say, and Thunder Strikes has said this, if you want to heal your body, heal your life. And so therefore, it's a very good goal to have. So when we talk about, as we're helping people in their healing process, we actually have an expression that says, because we use chants and singing as part of the alchemy of a healing circle, we sing the apprentice back to the before. And it's a beautiful expression, because through the power and the magic of sound and vibration, these chants literally create a space that sings the person back to that state of their true healed self and their natural self. So that's basically the understanding of going back to the before.
So are there any final comments that you would like to share with our listeners today or our viewers?
Oh, yes, yeah. I would like everyone to know that each one of us, that you are more than you think you are, that your potential and your capacity to heal is right there inside you, and you can have help from people to bring it out. But there's the thinking that we are the creator. If I look at my creator internally, my creator within, that if I can create imbalance and even cellular changes that actually created sickness, illness, disease, I can uncreate it. And I have that capacity because of how the Creator created me. And in the big unified field, it's all the same. It's all the same. So I would like people to kind of remember that we are our creators of ourselves and our lives, and that we can also uncreate what's no longer working and therefore recreate. So that's my parting desire for you all.
Thank you, Naide, for joining us. I've enjoyed having this time to speak with you, and I look forward to further conversations with you and other leaders from this path.
Thank you very much. It's really been a pleasure for me to even get some learning as I hear my own words. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you there who are interested in what it means to heal.
For more information about DTMMS and the Sweet Medicine Sundance Path, go to our website at dtmms.org. You'll see a calendar of events and our international offerings. You can also email dtmms@dtmms.org to answer any questions. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio. Thank you for tuning in to DTMMS TV. If you liked what you heard, then thumbs up and share, please.